You've been there. Everything seemed fine yesterday. Then suddenly, they're distant, cold, and when you ask what's wrong, you get the response that cuts deepest. I don't feel it anymore. It feels sudden, like a switch flipped overnight. But here's what relationship psychology tells us. It's never sudden. What feels like an unexpected loss of interest is actually the final stage of a process that's been happening beneath the surface for weeks or months. Today, we're diving into the hidden psychology of relationship disengagement, why people lose interest gradually, why their partners almost never see it coming, and why the warning signs remain invisible until it's too late. When someone says, "I lost interest suddenly," they're describing their own conscious awareness, not the actual timeline. The human brain is terrible at tracking gradual emotional shifts. We notice when we've arrived at a conclusion, not the thousands of micro-calculations that brought us there. Think of it like noticing you're sick. You don't wake up thinking, "My immune system is currently being compromised." You wake up 3 days later with a full-blown cold and think, "I got sick suddenly." But the process started long before you felt symptoms. Psychologists use the iceberg model to explain this. Above the waterline, what's visible are behaviors. They're still texting, still saying, "I love you." Everything looks normal. Below the waterline, invisible, is where the real shift happens. The emotional accounting system is recalculating. The internal narrative about the relationship is being rewritten, one small edit at a time. By the time behavioral changes become visible, the internal shift is usually 80 to 90% complete. That's why it feels sudden to the person being left. They're only seeing the tip of the iceberg break the surface, unaware that the massive structure beneath has been drifting for months. Every relationship has an informal power dynamic based on perceived options and value. Early on, this usually feels balanced. But when one person starts to perceive themselves as having more options, whether real or imagined, the psychological calculus changes. The shift is often triggered by external validation, professional success, weight loss, social media attention, a flirtatious coworker. Suddenly the relationship that once felt like a prize starts to feel like a limitation. And here's the cruel part. The partner being reassessed rarely knows they're in competition. They're operating under the old agreement, unaware that the terms have changed. Driver 2, emotional saturation. Humans are stimulus adaptation machines. We habituate to almost everything. Early in a relationship, every text triggers dopamine, but over time, the brain learns the pattern. The reward system downgrades the importance of the stimulus. This is emotional saturation when the nervous system stops responding to stimuli that have become predictable. The relationship moves from the excitement circuit to the attachment circuit in the brain. And for some people, that shift feels like loss of interest. The saturated partner doesn't consciously think, "I'm bored." They just notice they're not as excited to see their partner, not as eager to respond to texts. Meanwhile, the other partner is still operating in the attachment phase, which feels stable and comfortable. They interpret their partner's behavior as everything's normal and miss that their partner is evaluating the relationship by a different metric. Driver 3, the predictability trap. When a partner becomes entirely predictable, when you know exactly how they'll respond, what they'll say, what they'll do, the relationship loses dimensionality. Mystery matters more than we admit. The cruel irony, the behaviors that create security, consistency, reliability, availability, are the same ones that can trigger saturation. The partner who always says yes, who molds themselves entirely around the relationship, who has no separate identity, they often lose attractiveness precisely because they're so devoted. The person losing interest doesn't usually articulate this. They just feel a vague restlessness, a sense that something's missing.
The consistency bias.
Humans expect people to remain who they've been. If your partner has been affectionate for 6 months, your brain predicts they'll be affectionate tomorrow. When small behavioral changes occur, we unconsciously rationalize them. They're just stressed at work.
They're probably tired.
These rationalizations create blind spots. By the time the behavioral changes are too large to rationalize, the internal shift is nearly complete. The concealment strategy. The person losing interest often unconsciously conceals it, not out of malice, but because they're conflict avoidant, still care about their partner's feelings, or haven't fully admitted the truth to themselves yet. They perform relationship behaviors on autopilot, responding to texts, saying "love you too," attending events together. These behaviors send signals that everything's fine, but the emotional content behind them has hollowed out. The threshold effect. There's a moment where something flips. Psychologist John Gottman calls it negative sentiment override, the point where your interpretive lens shifts from positive to negative. Before this threshold, they forgot our anniversary because they've been overwhelmed. After this threshold, they forgot our anniversary because they don't care about me. Same behavior, different interpretation. Once you cross this threshold, even positive actions get reinterpreted negatively. And once that happens, it's extremely difficult to reverse without conscious intervention. If you're the one losing interest, your feelings are valid, but they may not be accurate. Early-stage doubt often resolves if addressed directly. Before making irreversible decisions, ask yourself, am I comparing my real relationship to an idealized fantasy? Am I running from normal relationship evolution? Have I actually communicated what I need? If you're still certain the relationship isn't right, you owe your partner directness. Don't slowly withdraw, hoping they'll get the hint. If you suspect your partner is pulling away, trust your gut, but verify before reacting. Instead of accusatory questions, try observational statements. I've noticed we haven't been connecting as much lately. Are you feeling okay about us?
Create space for honesty. Ironically, the more desperately you cling, the faster they'll pull away. And if they confirm they're checking out, believe them the first time. You cannot argue someone into wanting you.
The deeper truth. Relationships require active, conscious maintenance. They don't coast on momentum. The couples who last aren't the ones who never experience disengagement. They're the ones who notice the early warning signs and address them before reaching the point of no return. That sudden breakup? It was never sudden. It was the visible collapse of an internal structure that had been quietly eroding for months. Understanding this won't prevent all heartbreak, but it will help you recognize the pattern in your partner's behavior or in your own heart. And that awareness gives you something precious, the opportunity to intervene while there's still time, or to walk away with dignity when there isn't.